How's it going, everyone? Rafa the Pickleball Tech Dude here, and today we're going to be talking a paddle that you're going to be seeing a lot of in 2025, the CRBN TruFoam Genesis line. We haven't seen anything new from CRBN in over a year and a half, so what have they been working on and why is everybody talking about it? Well, let's take a look at the specs. The TruFoams launch in CRBN's three signature shapes. The Series 1, which is an elongated paddle, 16.5 by 7.35 inches with a 5.5 inch handle length. The Series 2, which is more of a standard shape, not wide body, at 16 inches by 7.85 with a 5.25 inch grip length. And finally, the Series 3, which is also elongated at 16.5 by 7.5, so a little bit longer than the Series 1, but also with a 5.25 inch grip like the Series 2. There have been rumors of a Series 4 shape paddle, but that's currently still in development and has no release date. All of these paddles will retail for about $280, but you can take 10% off and get the price closer to $250 with my discount code RAFA, or just clicking the link in the description. While I was not paid to do this review, using my affiliate code does provide me a small kickback, and that allows me to make these reviews even better, which is going to be so important this year when we have a lot of great stuff coming. What's really setting the TruFoam apart is that the inside is completely constructed out of foam. No edge wall injected foam channels, no carbon fiber ribs, no polypropylene cores, just foam. These images will give you a good visual of this core, which is unibodily constructed out of this black foam with holes cut out in strategic areas for performance. The face layup is comprised of carbon fiber sheets and one small layer of fiberglass that is specifically laid over the center portion of the core. The actual composition of the foam and the actual layup of the face is something that CRBN is not disclosing at this time. From a construction standpoint, these are absolutely nuts. We're dealing with paddles here that, even though they're not thermoformed, are going to be the first in a series of paddles that are going to be known as Gen 4 with 100% foam cores. So now let's get to the question that you're probably wondering. Are these the most powerful paddles to ever exist? Last year, when we visualized the simple addition of an extra foam channel, adding immense amounts of power to some paddles, it's very fair to ask the question if a 100% foam paddle core was going to break the power scale. But you can see here, just looking at the full stats on these paddles, that that is not the case at all. As you can see based on the numbers, these should definitely be classified as power paddles, but just for today's current power paddle climate, these fall into the middle to upper category, kind of where the Paddle Tech Bantams are. However, that is by no means a bad thing. These paddles also have pretty high pop due to the added fiberglass layer and the density of the foam, which is great news for players looking for high power, high pop paddles. However, neither of these are at levels that would make me concerned for PB Core certification in the future, which is a double win for you as a consumer. So other than not having YOLA mod or gearbox levels of power, which might discourage some from going out and getting this paddle, what are some other areas of weakness that might be deal breakers for some? The one that you'll experience right off the bat is maneuverability. These paddles aren't meant to be super maneuverable and super fast in the hands, and you can tell that just by the swing weights on paper. Even the Series 2, which is their standard shape, falls kind of in the middle of the pack for swing weight. The second thing is that these paddles are not meant to have the whole face feel like a sweet spot. Pickleball Apes introduced us to the idea with their pulse line that thicker foam walls could extend the feeling of the sweet spot. But whatever proprietary foam blend is used in these TruFoams actually absorbs a lot of ball energy and does create mishits along those edge areas. And I want to emphasize, this is more of a note that the forgiveness of the sweet spots wasn't where I thought they would be, not the stability. Even the TGF-1 with its relatively low twist weight still felt like a very stable paddle upon ball striking. I would just describe it as having a tighter sweet spot than the other two shapes, and I think this is one of the reasons why the TGF-2 is going to be one of the more popular shapes among the average player. And the last thing I'll mention is that the ball striking feels very muted, and all that means is that at times you feel the ball velocity off the face a little bit differently than what you anticipated. Although I wouldn't say the difference between expected output and actual output is massive or anything, so this is really only a major issue if you need to feel 100% connected to the ball on every single shot. Otherwise, this does wonders for tennis elbow, and is something that you can get used to pretty quickly. With the control and accuracy drill I developed for myself, these paddles scored in the average of 77th percentile, with the TGF-2 being the highest. So with 50th being the average, these paddles definitely score well above that. And if you judge your game to be better than mine, which many of you will, then you can expect your results to potentially be a little bit better. So there's actually a lot here that Carbon did very well on when creating this paddle. But the three main things that they set out to do were to maximize durability, maximize dwell time, and minimize break-in period. And I would say they were greatly successful at all of those things. While how much energy you've given the ball and just how hard you've struck it can feel very muted at times, what translates immediately and what you feel right away is how far the ball sinks into the face. The faces of the TruFoams aren't overly gritty, in the slightest. But what I think Carbon has done that is second to none in the industry right now is recreate that feeling and snapback of a tennis ball on tennis racket strings. You sort of have everybody kind of messing around down here. You've got Gearbox and Ronbus kind of up here in the conversation. And right now Carbon is just all the way up here. And that manifests in really high spin numbers that'll maintain for a long time because it's based on the dwell time. And I'm a big fan of that. For me, durability and break-in period go hand in hand. I really think I can only count on the fingers on one hand the number of paddles I've played with that play the same out the box as they do after weeks and hours of playtesting. And I've never liked the idea of paddles breaking in to play better over time. So the TruFoam Genesis has really launched itself into this conversation where with their foam blend, they've achieved one of the main things that polypropylene structures lack, which is the ability to consistently snap back into place. And so I would not describe these as paddles that really have a break-in period at all. And for when it comes from a durability perspective, at least when it comes to core crushing, as long as these paddles are made properly, I really don't see that being the reason you would need to replace it in the long term. Okay, so now we're in a good spot where we understand everything this paddle is good at and everything it's bad at. So how do I put this to you comprehensively? Let's put it like this. Let's take the hottest paddles on the market right now, in my opinion, the Paddletech Bantam TKOs. And the ESQCs will be a little bit more analogous to the TGF2, of course. Let's say you took these and you were willing to sacrifice hand speed and maneuverability, and you were willing to gain much more solid contact and plow through, much more muted vibration response, much increased dwell time and plushness in the sweet spot area, and a big improvement in durability. And if all of these sound like benefits to you and things that you want in your next paddle, then this is going to be an awesome choice for you. I would really say the only scenarios where I don't recommend this paddle would be if your utmost priorities are hand speed and maneuverability or extreme forgiveness of the sweet spot, especially towards the edges. And the best advice that I can give is that if you are going to go get these paddles, but you still prioritize hand speed to an extent, if you like standard shape paddles, go for the TFG2 shape for sure. But if you also want a little bit more sweet spot forgiveness and size, these are my recommended weight setups for all three of the paddles as I tested them. You can see that a little bit of tungsten tape and some flick weights really go a long way. Although I will say that a couple of these setups do increase the swing weight a little bit. But with that, that's going to put a nice little bow on this months-long saga that's been the TruFoam Genesis series. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching and for your support. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below what paddles you want to see in the next weeks and months, because there's gonna be a lot. But with that, I hope you all stay happy and healthy, and of course, out on the courts. Until the next video. Peace.